Kyle, what the self-scouts show you guys, specifically you?
I think we did a lot of really good things on Sunday, and I think the main thing, especially for me, was the critical errors. I think I played a really good game except for 4 or 5 plays. Obviously that interception in the red zone was just too much. And then you look at the film, they're playing man coverage, I get out of the pocket and I try and force the ball when I probably could have ran for at least 5, maybe even scored. And then the fumbled snap was just, it's on me. It's just, it can't happen, but it just did happen. There's nothing like crazy you need to fix about it. Just get the snap, and then there's plays here and there where I can clean up my footwork and get the ball in the right spot. So I think as a team we played well and we fought really hard. It just came down to like 4 or 5 plays.
Talking about where you could have ran, you're talking about that ball to Christian that kind of went.
No, I'm talking about the one to Jay Wright where I threw to Jay Wright and got intercepted. But yeah, that ball to Christian, that's a footwork thing. That's what I was talking about, footwork. If I just get my footwork right and just set my feet to him and throw that ball, it could be a touchdown. So.
Is that in your nature to run, Doug?
Yeah, it's part of the game.
They were talking about that on one of your scramble plays towards the end, where you had open field in front of you. I think it was that last drive, but instead of crossing the line, you actually ran parallel to the line instead of running another 5 or 10 yards. Where they say usually rookie quarterbacks or young quarterbacks, they panic and they run, whereas opposed to you were actually still trying to throw.
Yeah, that was a 2-minute drive, so I knew if I was going to run the ball, I had to have decent room to pick up a solid gain. And I know what play you're talking about. I climbed up in the pocket and I started to go out to the right, and there was a lot of people out there, and I had some guys off to the right, so I kind of peeked at the sideline and saw it was still behind the line of scrimmage and tried to buy a little bit more time. And even then, when I got out, I still threw across my body and got it to DJ, and he was in bounds too. So that's another play where I could have maybe scrambled to my right and got out of bounds, but it's a learning experience.
On that 2-minute drill, the 4th and 10, you look for DJ on the left side. Kind of seemed like that ball hung up in the air for a while, but what did you see on that play, and how does the trust between you and DJ to know that he's going to be open?
Yeah, so they doubled the inside guys on that play. I think they were showing pressure, and when they dropped out and they doubled Greg and Jarius on the inside and took that away. And so once I saw that, I looked outside to DJ and just kind of waited for him to get out of the route. And the footing was slippery out there for everybody, so I knew I was going to have to give him a little time on that ball to let him get out of it. And he did a really good job of coming out of his break cleanly and coming back to the ball and getting it. But, at the end of the day, it's 4th and 10. I had to give somebody a chance on that play. And so he came out of his route good.
You and DJ have had a really nice connection the last 2 weeks in a row. What's enabled that, and what can you speak to his strengths as a receiver?
I don't think there's anything special about the last 2 weeks. I think in this offense, you've heard it said before, the ball's going to find its way to the receivers based on which teams we're playing. And it's like Greg had a huge game last week, almost had 100 yards, and some weeks he's had 10, 15 yards, It's just going to find your way depending on the scheme of the defense we're playing. But DJ's always been a solid, steady player for us. Strong hands, strong through his routes, can work off a press, can beat you over the top too. And so he's got a lot of talent, and I wouldn't say he's finding his way because he's been playing well all season. He's just been getting a lot of targets as of lately, I guess.
This was your first action last year against this Atlanta team. What do you remember about that experience, being pressed in, and where are you, 8 starts later compared to that?
Yeah, I'm obviously a lot more experienced in the game, and I just remember that was my first week even being active last year, and I was just stoked to be in a uniform, honestly. And then Taylor went down in the second quarter, and I didn't even have time to blink. I just had to go in and play, and it was cool. It was kind of like a welcome to the NFL moment. But obviously I've had a lot more starts now, a lot more playing time, and a lot more experience, and I'm a much different player than I was last year.
Did that grab your attention, the fact that they actually beat and won in New Orleans last week, as opposed to a team that's still floundering and hasn't won in forever and ever? The fact that they actually won and beat New Orleans last week, did that grab your attention a little bit more?
Yeah, but if you go back and look at the tape and you look at the teams they've played in a lot of close games. And they just haven't really found a way to win. They're a solid team. They're a really good team. You forget a couple years ago they were in the Super Bowl. They're a really good team. And I think they're putting the pieces together right now. I think they played a really complete game against New Orleans, and I think they got a lot of playmakers out there. So I wouldn't say it surprised me, but I think you can see they're starting to piece it together a little bit on all 3 phases.
Do you remember your very first completion in that Atlanta game? What was the welcome to the NFL moment, so to speak?
I think I threw a stop route to Curtis, maybe. The one I really remember is the seam route I threw to Jarius, because I was just it was at that point where I got thrown in the game. I was like, all right, you just got to go play. You got to go trust what you see and just play ball like it's any other game. And so, especially that play, I went through my reads. He was like my third read on that play. I hit him in the seam. I was like, all right, so this is what it's like in practice. Like, it's not that much different, you know what I mean? So I guess that was my moment.
Kyle, go back to DJ for a second. You guys have had a lot of success on those kind of quick slants to him. I know you kind of mentioned big body, physical receiver. What makes him well-equipped, and for you as a quarterback, trusting him on those kind of quick-hitting routes over the middle?
You know, I don't think it's only like those slants. I think he runs the whole route tree really well. And I think when you got a guy like him who isn't afraid to be physical, isn't afraid to use his body, you have that trust in him because you know if you're going to put it out there, it's either going to be his ball or it's going to be nobody's ball. And so when he runs the deep hinge routes, when he runs the deep digs, the slants, the out routes, all that stuff, even if you give him a not-so-great ball, he's going to fight through it to catch that ball or it's going to be incomplete. And so I guess that's where like the trust factor comes in that.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yes. What?